I'll bring you back in a minute as we do some more maintenance on this thing. But if you're following this series, it's a slow moving series, so if you're following this and you're not looking for a little entertainment as we go, then you're probably not going to like this. Not going to like this series on rebuilding the wood splitter. But that's all right. In my world, and in my world at the cabin, time has no meaning. There is no time. You know, I refuse to live my life revolving around a clock or a watch or a clock on a cell phone nowadays. Clocks and watches, I guess, are going by the wayside. Now when I finish this up, I'm going to move over and I'm going to do a little bit of, while I'm down here, I'm going to work on my hatchet. While I've got the tools out and all of that, I'm going to put a little edge on that, clean it up a little bit. It's been setting in the six-wheeler way too long and too many trips without being cleaned up. So time to clean that thing up. And it is cold. We went from 40, almost 50 degrees a week ago to 10 degrees. Now it's been 10 degrees for a couple of days, 2 or 3 days. Wednesday we're supposed to see 50 degrees again with rain. So we still don't have any ice. This is unbelievable as far as I'm concerned. Here we are in January and there's still no ice fishing. Well, good morning. My name is Tom. I come to you from the Rustic log cabin in Northern Maine. Welcome to my shop this morning. Well, we're still in that series on rebuilding this old wood splitter. I think we're on number 3. Just taking my time, enjoying it. I'm putting the last touches on it before I move it up to the cabin. The whole purpose in having this wood splitter is up at the cabin. I got the motor switched out on it now. Motor runs great, but it could run better. So I took the carburetor apart 2 days ago, and what it's doing is it's flooding itself out. It runs great, and then you'll see gasoline spitting out the carburetor. So what that means is it's getting too much gas. And how you resolve that is on this particular carburetor that one of the jets has an O-ring around it, and it's really small. And what that O-ring does, it keeps it from getting too much gas while it's trying to run. So what's happening is it's getting too much gas. So the only way to solve that problem is, number 1, buy a new carburetor for it, which isn't that expensive. You can buy a brand new carburetor for this motor. If you went with the factory one, it's about $150. If you go with a aftermarket one, it's about $20. So I'm trying the $20 one. But I'm also getting the jet to come in. I ordered the carburetor before I tore the carburetor apart. So, but you know, $20 carburetor, put on in and just see how it goes. And the jet, I think the jet is $20, something like that. And then you need the gasket. There's also a gasket in there. That's all part of that rebuild kit for the carburetor. So that's another $10. So you got $20 in parts right there. And then a couple other things. Then you would need, if you're in there, you might as well change the float needle out. Was there a gasket there? Nope, no gasket there, but it is a plastic piece. And if that plastic piece wears out, then you need to replace that. And that was another $20 or $30. So now you can see why I'm trying out the aftermarket carburetor and see how that runs. $20, I'll swap it out and maybe be done with it, who knows. you know, it's a wood splitter. All I needed to do is start up every time. And I had this one doing pretty good. It was actually running really good. And I got in there to try to play with that little rubber gasket. And obviously I damaged it more because when I put the carburetor back on, it was really spitting gas out there. It was still running, but boy, she was spitting the gas right out the front of the carburetor. So obviously, I mean, we're talking really, really small O-ring that's around that needle valve. So that, I obviously damaged it anyways, long story short. But what I'm doing today is I'm pulling the wheels off. I have every nut, bolt, everything on here that has threads, I have sprayed with this penetrating oil. Mainly all of the hose connections for the hydraulics. They were pretty rusty, so I'm going to keep spraying those down for a while. And then I'm going to crack each one of them to make sure that they work. So in case you do have a breakdown, I can change out the hoses. I'm going to build a roof over this up at the cabin, so it's going to sit right in front of my woodshed with a small tin roof over it and be set up all the time and ready to split firewood. So what I'm doing today is once I get up there, spill my coffee, must be time for a drink. It's cold this morning. So when I get up there, I'm going to jack this thing up and I'm going to put it up on some cedar logs that I have. I got some cedar logs that are about 2 feet round. So I'm going to cut those down to size and I'm going to lay 2 under the back end and 1 under the front so I can lift this thing up. So it's about waist high for when I'm working on it. I'll be splitting firewood and maintaining the motor. And about waist high will be pretty nice. So what I've done today, when I get up there, I want to take the wheels off. Take the wheels off, put them in the shop. If you do this now, when you need to take a tire off, it'll come off. Good as new. And that way, it'll be, if somebody does want to bother it, now I've never been bothered at the cabin, but just in case, that's one way to make it just a little bit more difficult. Pull the wheels off. I'm going to put those in the shop, put the lug nuts in the shop, but I want to make sure it all comes apart, you know, so I've sprayed the lug nuts with that penetrating oil, and then when I am finished with that, you can see in the video, I'm putting some all-purpose grease in there on each one of the lug nuts. And that way, when I get up to the cabin, number one, I know the tire's going to come off. And number two, I'm protecting my lug nuts and all of that to make sure all that doesn't get frozen into place. You know, these things are set out in the grass and all that, are set out behind the shop. Doesn't take long for them to rust up and be totally unusable, or you can't repair them. So all of that is a lot easier to take care of right here by the shop. So when I get this up to the cabin, all of the legwork will be done and all of the maintenance will be done on this thing so that it is ready for service at the Rustic log cabin. I'm going to add a little hydraulic oil to it. I will be pulling the motor off again and bringing that up in the back of the truck instead of in the utility trailer, because we've got 7 inches of snow supposedly coming tomorrow, and then that'll make a mess of the roads, and the state of Maine puts a bunch of crap on the interstate, really hard on vehicles and really hard on these small motors. I know that from experience. I've dragged up a snowblower one winter, and the next spring that motor on the snowblower, it looked like I'd thrown it in the ocean and been sitting in the salt water all summer. You know, so I don't want that to happen with this motor, so I'll peel the motor off and then I'll put it back on once I'm up there and got it up into place and all of that. Put the motor back on fairly easy and be back in business. So, but that's a few things to do. So I'll bring you along as we putter today. I'm just down here getting ready for the snowstorm, getting this ready. I'm going to load it on the trailer and basically get it where I can get to it if we do get some snow. I mean, it could go from 7 inches to 2 feet. You don't really trust the weatherman, so we'll see. So here's what I'm going to work on next. This right here is a built-in hydraulic tank. It's built right into the I-beam. Nice little tank. This is a breather tube. This right here is just so it gets air. But this right here is how you fill it up, I would imagine. So, you know, it didn't come with any directions. But I cannot, now, and I know that if I run it right now with this tipped up like this, the pump doesn't get enough oil to move the ram. So that means that there's not much oil in there. But what I can't imagine that this being so loose that it doesn't leak anyways. Now it's not leaking, but that could be there's just not a whole lot of oil in there. Who knows? So what I'm going to do now is I don't want to take this off, risk breaking anything. And this is quite loose, so I'm going to try to get this off without breaking it. And then I'm going to pull this out, put some thread tape on it, and then I can bring it right around. You can feel it starting to snug up. So hopefully I can bring it right back so that with any luck it'll point up through here. We'll see. If not, be there, but I will snug it up with, you see right here, this is thread tape. So I'll put some thread tape on there where it goes into the tank, and hopefully that'll take care of that. I don't think there's hardly any hydraulic oil in this thing at all. Not much. Wants to drip out a little bit. put that back in for a minute. I'm going to get a rag. I'm going to find my tape. Red tape. That's so loose. The nice thing about taking time to rebuild this thing, one thing, it's a country boy will survive mentality. And the other thing is, when something goes wrong with it, which it will, it's a mechanical thing. When something goes wrong with it, I will know how to fix it. And I've already been in here, so I know the parts and pieces. You got to get that stuff started. It's easier when it's not so cold. Yeah. When you've worked on your own equipment, you understand how it works and you understand how to fix it. And to me, that's just everyday life. But I think it's a pretty good thing. You know, new people getting into wanting to be a woodsman, stuff like that. New people wanting to get into being a woodsman. These are the things that you should start picking up. Don't be running away from them thinking you can't do it. Because you can do it. I put a lot on there. Put a lot on there because I'd like to you can do it if once you start. It's not that difficult. You know, you see something that needs to be fixed, you fix it. Yeah, that's pretty tight. So I would like to have that pipe over here, but it might not work. Not gonna work, because that's in the way. So it's going back out the back where it came from. There. Yeah. So I'm going to put some more thread tape on this one to make sure this one doesn't leak. And then I can add some hydraulic oil to this. Yeah. There she be. At the end of this video, I'll put you in some links to more topics about the great state of Maine. There'll be 3 of them. I also have a round circle back there. I'm standing next to a bear. Click that bear if you'd like to subscribe to my channel. Looking forward to meeting you, and come along with me to the state of Maine.